day everyone. By the way, I am RG Saplahio Daganato and I am your discussant for today. And our topic is all about the comprehending poetry. So poetry is a highly complex language but still uses punctuation and complete sentences as well as a sound and rhythm. Poets work to strip out all the extemporaneous words writers usually include as glue between the essential words, and that gave us context about meaning. So, while the language's compression may make the poems seem difficult to understand, so most poems are in the end interpretable. Here are some simple examples. It focusing on the idea of compression in poetry. So, the original sentences has the beautiful bright yellow sun was shining warmly in the sky. So, if we compress version in the poetry, it makes a yellow sun, warm and warm sky. So, in the direct explanation, the original sentence uses many words to describe the scene. So, the compressed version removes unnecessary words like beautiful, bright, was, and in. So, this leaves only the essential words: yellow, sun, and warm sky. No? So, creating a concise and evocative image, this example shows how poetry can achieve compression by focusing on the core elements of a scene or idea, leaving the reader to fill in the details. No? So, it's best to approach a poem systematically in an academic reading. Treat a poem as if it is a puzzle to be sussed out or travel luggage waiting to be unpacked. So, while one may read poetry outside of school simply for pleasure, in academia, we are attempting to construct defendable interpretations, which means we are attempting to agree as a community on the most complete meaning of the poem being read and discussed. So, like for example, that is if we think of reading a poem in school like unpacking a suitcase, so you don't just open it and grab whatever you see. You carefully examine each item, figuring out what it is, why it's there, and how it relates to the other things in the suitcase. So that's the academic reading does. So we don't just enjoy the poem, we try to understand its every part, its hidden meanings, and how they all fit together to create a bigger picture. So we want to make sure that everyone agrees on what that picture is, so we can discuss it in a meaningful way. So the most beloved and enduring poetry does not abandon literal meaning, and it is focused on figurative language, sound, rhythm, and imagery. And the most successful poems, actually, it blends somehow both literal and figurative meaning in a way that is difficult to explain but resonates with us. Nonetheless, it's actually the tension between the two that builds meaning. So, like for example of that, imagine a poem as a painting. It has a beautiful colors and shapes, just like a figurative language and sounds imagery. But it also shows a real scene or the literal meaning. So the best poems are like painting that makes you think. You can ask yourself, what's going on here? What's the artist trying to tell me? So the beauty comes from the way that the literal and figurative parts work together. So they create a little bit of mystery, a puzzle that you want to solve. That's what makes the poem stick with you, because you're still thinking about it long after you finish reading it. So, like for another example, no, think a poem like a song, no. It has a melody, sound, and rhythm, and lyric that tell a story or the literal meaning. But the best songs also use metaphors and imagery, no, or figurative language to make the lyrics deeper and more meaningful. So the most powerful poems are like those songs, no? They use both literal and figurative language to create a rich experience. They make you think about the words in a new way, and they stay with you long after you finish reading them. No? It's like the song's melody and lyrics are working together to create something special, something that resonates with you on a deeper level. No? So now let's follow a system listed here to annotate and interpret poems most likely meaning. So according to Stephen Spender, when you read and understand a poem, comprehending its roots and formal meanings, then you master chaos a little. So imagine a poem as a jumble box, no? Sample of that. Imagine a poem as a jumble box of thoughts and feelings, no. It's messy and chaotic, but just like a life can be, no. But when you read a poem and understand its meaning, it's like putting those jumbled thoughts in order. You can create meaning out of chaos. You find a pattern in the mess and rhythm in the noise, and that's a little bit of mastery over the chaos of life. So now let's proceed to reading the poem. No? First is read the poem through 1 to 3 times and see how much of the author's meaning you can immediately grasp, and ask yourself, who is speaking? Who is the audience? What is the topic? Where and when is the action taking place? What is motivating the speaker? Second, then go back to the poem line by line. Define all the images and symbols, if necessary referring to outside reference, work, or to other poems by the same author. Third, if you are still having difficulty understanding the poem, consider translating each line into prose, or substitute simpler words for the more difficult ones. So you may need a dictionary. And lastly, when you understand all basic words and ideas in the poem, reread the poem a few more times and pull it all back together again. So now let's proceed to annotating the poem. Annotating literature means taking careful, extensive notes on any important plot or character close themes, and use of literary devices like rhythm, allusion, alliteration, irony, metaphor, and etc., as well as your personal responses to the work, noting the author's tone, intended audience, speaker, and etc., and how you react or think about it. No? In the analysis of a poem, remember to consider who is speaking to whom, when and where is the poem taking place, and what is the topic being discussed, and what is the primary purpose: to persuade, to construct, to inform, to reflect, to discover, and or to entertain. According to Frank Moore Colby, the only really difficult thing about the poem is the critics. Why? Like for example, imagine class a poem about a solitary figure walking through a dark forest. No? One critic might focus on the poem's themes of the isolation and fear, while another might see it as a journey of self-discovery. So both of interpretations are valid, but the complexity arises from the subjective nature of criticism and the potential for multiple valid perspectives. So next is writing literary explication analysis. When writing an explication paper, we essentially write a detailed interpretation of a work of literature, particularly of shorter work like poetry. So this type of essay looks at all aspects of poem, its surface meaning, as well as its underlying tone and themes in all use literary devices and their influence on the poem. So we will be writing many time poetry analysis paper during the year. To write with expertise, you will need to know the following terms and define them in your journal. So in general vocabulary, we have setting, character, tone, diction. We have also narrative, pacing, dialogue, monologue, point of view. So in verse, we have a poem, couplet, epiphany, invocation, mimesis, muse, octave, persona, poetic license, pun. So in meter, we have beat, thesaura, enjambment, foot, samba pentameter, refrain, stanza, rhyme. In rhyme, we have alliteration, assonance, consonance, euphony, cacophony, rhyme, half rhyme, internal rhyme, masculine rhyme, feminine rhyme, true rhyme. So in figurative language, we have allegory, allusion, ambiguity, anaphora, apostrophe, concert, connotation, denotation, contrast, deed metaphor, dramatic irony, Sophoclean irony, tragic irony, extended metaphor, hyperbole, implicit or submerged metaphor, image, invocation, irony, cosmic irony, litotes, metaphor, metonymy, mixed metaphor, onomatopoeia, oxymoron, pathetic, fallacy, parallelism, personification, romantic irony, sarcasm, simile, Socratic irony, symbolism, synedoche, synesthesia, transferred epithet, trope, verbal irony. So the types of poems we have first we have ballad, next we have blank verse, burlesque, didactic, dramatic, monologue, elegy, emblematic, epic, epigram, epitaph, eulogy, free verse, haiku, limerick, link or lyric, ode, arose, poems, sonnet, villanelle. So the poetry is a renewal of words, setting them free, and that's what a poet is doing, loosening in the words, according to Robert Frost. So that's the end of my report class. I hope you enjoy and you listen to my topic. Thank you so much.